Good morning. Life on the farm. There's a lot of horses. And this storm that's supposed to be here hasn't arrived yet.
Welcome to another episode of Toby's Stupid Vlog.
Storm Jorge is very much absent. What do you think of all the horses? Thoughts? Do you like horses? I mean, I do. So, you know, that's something. Lovely view. Isn't that nice? So this is our little cow shed. Upstairs is the living room. Downstairs is the bedroom. I'm just going a little walk around the yard. Excuse me whilst I close this gate. There we go. Can hear the doggy. It did rain last night properly, and it's quite flooded in places. See, that field is looking very moist. So the River Froome is usually a little tiny stream, and now you can see it's taken up most of the field. So there we go, we did see it in the blue. That's nice, isn't it? Right, go and see how the other party's getting on, and then we might head out into the wild blue yonder. Which is National Trust property. We're still ahead of Storm Jorge, although it looks like he's now on the horizon. I think he'll pass mostly north of us, but there could be some, well, there are, as you can hear, there are some strong winds, and it's quite chilly, and it might hail or snow. So there we go, this is the manor. Let's go and do a bit of exploring. The storm has passed and the sun's come out. The storm is over there, as you can tell from that very dark grey. It's north of us, so we did well to come a bit south. And we're just having a wander around the gardens. The house is very nice, but it's an old house. It's very dark. It's very hard to film things in there. This is a dovecot come water tower that they built. It's a very nice country estate. A part of the house is in use and part of it's a holiday let as well. So you can't see all of it, but you get to see the old parts, 15th century, etc. This is a break in the storm, it turns out. There's more storm to come. So we might go and find a pub, take shelter, have some lunch, and we'll wait for the remaining part. Can't go this way. Wait for the remaining part of the storm to go through. But it's a much nicer day than we thought it was going to be. Hello, happy new day, happy new month. It's Sunday. We're in Avebury. This is Avebury Stone Circle, one of the oldest henges in the world. It's 6,000 years old now. Where they're missing stones because they've been nicked or eroded, they've put these concrete plinths in to mark them. But you can still see there's plenty of big stones laid around the village. A big circle. What are you looking at? Inner ring and the even innerer ring in the middle there, and that's where we just walked along. There's two massive lumps of rock here, and you can see the artificial hill they built goes all the way around there. There's more stones out that way. We've just had lunch in the Red Lion pub, which is the only pub in Avebury. This is the road in Avebury. Some very pretty houses, lovely gardens, including thatched roofs. It's very nice indeed. I'm just going for a wander down to the end. We have come to the Vine Estate, and you know, as many National Trusts as you can fit in a day. We've come mainly to use the tea room and to Amelia's comfort, to have some milk. So the sun is quite low, but it's quite nice. We just had some scones in that, and that's the brew house there. This is the main house. Now closed at 4. It was a Tudor building originally, which you won't be able to distinguish from these chimneys here, and some of the older brickwork. And then it was all very important building apparently in the 17th century. Haven't really had a chance to do the history of it because we haven't been inside and read all that shenanigans. It's in lovely parkland. Just wandering around the grounds. That's the other side of the house from this artificial lake river. It's very nice. Feels like a long time since the wind was this low. It's very tranquil. We've got a nice warm light at the end of the day. Right, so this is the Vine Estate, which is somewhere, I think, north of Basingstoke. So we're going to get on the M3 and head back up to Richmond. Happy Monday afternoon. So we have this morning been to see a nursery because that's what we do now. Actually a really nice nursery. So nice in fact that we just put our name down straight away. Childcare costs are ridiculous. That's just an unfortunate fact, but there we go. This one is much more reasonable and a really nice. And actually it's right where we used to go to visit the midwife, so reasonably convenient as well. Anyway, the weekend was fun. It was a good test. Yesterday was very nice, what with a bit of driving and stopping and starting and Amelia sleeping in the car. It actually worked really well. So a quick review is basically that right now Amelia isn't sleeping properly, so regardless of where we are, the same problems exist. But in terms of what we need for her to take away, I think we've probably got it about right. She doesn't need a lot other than 19 changes of clothes a day and enough milk to fill a bathtub and an actual bathtub to have a bath in. Yeah, it was worth doing. I'm glad it was our first trip before we actually go to Valencia, coronavirus notwithstanding. So yeah, shame the weather wasn't better. What can you do? As I said before, England. I should probably mention something about COVID-19, which is the current virus that's doing the rounds of the world, just because it's, you know, of the moment and what have you. So what's going to happen? Nobody knows for sure, but let's give some broad strokes of what's happening right now and project a little. So the reason that people have got in a fuss about this particular virus is that it's very contagious. Not that it's particularly deadly, it isn't. Or at least it's very hard to measure the rates of how deadly it is. In the sort of Western nations, it hasn't got a particularly high mortality rate. I don't think it's actually much higher than just regular flu. Broadly, what's going to happen is this virus will peak in about 12 months' time, then there'll be an inoculation that'll prevent you getting it, but it'll just come around and evolve, and it'll become one of the flus that comes around in the winter season. So people shouldn't get too excited about it, but if obviously you're prone to illness or elderly or infirm, you should stay away from people who are coughing and spluttering. Next up, wearing a mask to prevent getting germs does not work. Simply doesn't work. So if you are well, you have no illness, don't bother wearing a mask. Doesn't make a damn bit of difference. What a mask does do is prevent the spread of germs a bit, because it's often spread on moisture when you cough, and it will catch a lot of the moisture coming out of your mouth. But once the virus is airborne, wearing a mask will not stop it, because the holes in the mask are far too big. So that's all a nonsense. Now you might say, what's the point of wearing a mask if you've got a cough? Anyway, well, the answer is there isn't really any point in wearing a mask even if you are ill, because the current recommendation is to self-quarantine, not to go out with a mask on. But it really does help mask retailers. So, I mean, if you think of it that way, maybe everyone should just buy a mask, keep the economy going, because otherwise it's going to tank. So, but yeah, in summary, coronavirus, highly contagious, not especially deadly. Everyone's going to have some version of it at some point, and it will become quite normal in a year. Lastly, and this is the most useful piece of advice you will get, should I consider not going somewhere because of COVID-19? No, you should not. That should not be an issue. The only reason not to go to somewhere is because they do not have good sanitation and medicine, and in which case a viral epidemic like this is particularly hard to deal with. Should I consider not going somewhere because I am unwell? Yes, that is a good piece of advice. If you have something that is contagious, flu-like or otherwise, you should consider not spreading it around. That is what decent human beings do. That includes not going to work. If you're ill, do not go into the office. Whatever job you think that is so super important that you have to be there to do it, trust me, the impact of giving this or any other virus to 2 or 3 more co-workers is far worse than the impact of you not being there for 48 hours. I promise you, for productivity's sake and for contagious sake, do not go into public places if you are ill. Thank you. There endeth the lesson. You say something. You have nothing? Nothing to add at all? Well, you were very chatty a minute ago, and now you're all coy and shy. It's not very like you. That's a silly face. What's that for? What's that for? Oh, you want me to stop recording? That's... You know what I long for? I long for the day when there is... the front page of the BBC News site doesn't contain information about COVID-19, and every single aspect of work is not revolving around a respiratory illness. Just wash your hands and just be a decent person, and just don't scaremonger, please. There's enough real shit to be scared about in the world. You don't need to be panicking about a respiratory illness that doesn't kill most people. If you are old, if you have breathing problems anyway, fair enough. If you are young and healthy and you wash your damn hands, stop worrying. way to home base, and as you saw, I'm taking the little person with me. The only reason I'm walking in this terrible weather is because March is Walk All Over Cancer, which I'm doing, sponsored, 10,000 steps every day. Link is here, and at that link you'll find pictures of all my steps per day, and information about, well, a bit more information about what I'm doing. But broadly speaking, that means you've got to go out and walk every day regardless of the weather. And today, it kept saying it was going to rain early and then stop, and the rain never arrived until I wanted to go out. So here it is. It's great. Someone is fast asleep in their waterproof cocoon. I'm massively jealous. I'm going to home base to buy a few things to tidy up the balcony and redo the woodwork. So to extend the steps a bit, because it's only 2,500 steps to get to home base, I've come into queue. She's still asleep, obviously. It's very nice. I mean, apart from the miserable weather, like the daffodils are out, the crocuses are out, the orchid festival is on. You know, there's lots of good reasons to be here. Although wearing full waterproofs, it's not my usual get-up. Hi there and happy Thursday. It's still raining solidly. You'll notice that there's nothing here behind this fence. This is where the woodland house was. A house they put up about 2 years ago and have used maybe once a year, maybe 3 times in total, and now it's gone. Very confusing. Don't know what's going on. I don't know why it was here, frankly, and none the wiser as to why it's not here anymore. They've just left a muddy swamp, so that's exciting. I'll have to find out. Ugh, wet daffodils, so sad. It is very miserable out today. It sort of started raining gently, like first thing this morning, and it just got heavier and heavier, and it hasn't stopped, and I don't think it's going to stop until about 7 o'clock. The ground is waterlogged and it's disgusting. But what can you do? I've still got like another 4,000 steps to do today. So I'm in full waterproofs and I'm just braving the elements. The advantage of this stuff is it's really good, it's Gore-Tex, and so when I get home I'll just hang it up and I'll be totally dry underneath. But Crystal and Amelia are just coming back from baby yoga, I think, this afternoon, so they might have got a bit wet in the process. I did say to give me a call if they wanted a lift, but Crystal's got to do 10,000 steps as well because she's also doing Walk All Over Cancer. So yeah, it's not ideal, but it's happening. Tomorrow's gonna be nice, probably. It's busy, isn't it? This is like the main thoroughfare between the Orangery and the what's it called, Victoria Gate. So this is usually in peak time one of the busiest paths in Kew. Now obviously the weather's terrible and there's only half an hour before closing, but I've never seen nobody on this path. It's quite wonderful. But I'm going home. I should have done 10,000 steps by the time I get back. Look at this. What difference 12 hours makes. So it's Friday and it's lovely, and we are going to look around another nursery for Amelia this morning, and then I don't know what we should do, but it probably should be outside. Let's do a word of the week while I remember. Why not nursery? It's as good as any. It's going to be a topic of conversation in our flat for quite a while. So nursery, first of all in German, you will know this, I would imagine. The nursery is der Kindergarten. Der Kindergarten, literally the child garden. Der Kindergarten is nursery in German. And in Italian, nursery is la scuola materna. La scuola materna. So there we go. That is nursery in German and Italian, and that was this week's word of the week. I'm going to get back to enjoy my day, which is very, very sunny and bright and lovely, and should be a much more enjoyable 10,000 steps.